Dade and Surfside. They were immediately on scene. I've spoken with both the local mayors, Surfside and Ball Harbor. We have emergency response personnel dispatched there. The first responders were able to save a lot of people. They are going to be going through more. And, it's a really, really tragic situation. So we'll hope for the best in terms of additional recoveries, but we are bracing for some bad news, just given the destruction that we're seeing. So I'm going to be making it down there very shortly, and the state's going to be able to do, we'll be helping out in any way that we can. But I do think the quick response was very important, and I do think it saved lives. So I want to thank the folks for their bravery in doing that. We've got a great group of folks here today. We have our Speaker of the House, Chris Sprowls. We have Representatives Yarborough, Mello, Harding, Senators Rodriguez, Stargel, Representatives Tuck and Toledo. I want to thank President Ken Atwater, also Richard Corcoran, and Secretary Dane Eagle, and also have a recent graduate here, Carlos Howell, and so he's going to say a few things. So I want to thank, this is really a neat building. This is a state-of-the-art allied health building. It's 4 stories, and it has a simulated hospital where students can train in real-life situations, and we're standing in an area where EMTs and paramedics train using simulation ambulances that you see. We've got a tour going through there. I mean, they showed simulation of like an ED room, more of a traditional hospital room. The new, the mothers, like they had the thing. I mean, I was thinking like Mamie could just have been there just a year ago. I mean, it was very, very real. And I think that they're providing a really, really good training experience. And when you're talking about things right now with things like nursing, you go through a good program like this, you're going to get hired because there's definitely a need to have more nurses. And so the bills we're signing today really doubles down on Florida's commitment to vocational education, providing people with skills that can then be applied in the real world, and that will be able to provide people with good careers. There's been a view for, when I was growing up, it was like you got to go to a normal 4-year college and you got to get a bachelor's degree, and if you don't do that, you're not going to be successful. That was not true. I think it was well-intentioned, but I think it's caused a lot of people to go really deep into debt. And so you go deep into debt. Now, fortunately, our universities in Florida are very affordable, but you look around at some of these private universities, particularly places in other parts of the country, and you have some of these students that are saddled with tens of thousands of dollars in debt, sometimes $100,000+, and then they have a degree in like zombie studies or something. And then they get out, and it's like, okay, you end up working in a job that you didn't even need to go to college for. And so we're proud of our university system. Obviously, that's an important track for many people. But I think what we've tried to emphasize since I became governor is, pursuing vocational education, pursuing career education, technical education, pursuing a career in the skilled trades is admirable. It's something that could lead you to a very productive career. I mean, you see some of these industries, the way they're hiring folks that have some of these skills, the kids get hired out of high school, or they'll do some vocational education. They don't go deep into debt, and they're making pretty darn good money, and they're not, and then they have a pathway to go forward, and a lot of people can start their own businesses with all this. So we really believe across the board, making sure that the education opportunities are really diverse. And it's not just trying to shoehorn everybody to go to a traditional 4-year brick and ivy university. And these bills today that we're going to sign really, I think, continue on that pathway. You're going to hear from Carlos Howell. He's a U.S. Army Reserve veteran. In May, at age 46, he graduated from the nursing program here. He came to the U.S. at 9 years old from Barbados. He joined the New York City Fire Department, eventually joined the Army Reserve. As a reservist, he became a licensed practical nurse, LPN, and after serving in Fort Bliss, Texas, he came to Florida to pursue a degree in nursing. Initially looked at USF, eventually ended up here at Hillsborough, and he was able to get this credential, and he now has additional opportunities as a result of it. So he's going to come up and talk about some of the things, some of the doors that this has opened for him. But ultimately, that's what it's all about. It's about providing people with the tools for them to make the most of their talents and their abilities, and to pursue dreams in a wide variety of fields. We're happy with what we did in terms of the money that we secured in the budget for things like apprenticeships. We did another $10 million for apprenticeship grants, also $25 million for workforce funds at state colleges. We also announced DOE and CareerSource Florida are awarding $600,000 in apprenticeship mini grants to help support apprenticeship programs. And Commissioner Corcoran and CareerSource will make these 24 awards. Actually, they're going to make them today, and 3 of them are in Tampa. And we want to make sure we have the strongest talent pipelines that we can. These bills, the legislatures are going to talk a little bit more in depth about it, but there's a couple things I think are unique. One of them is, we really believe that if we're going to be funding our educational institutions, particularly our state colleges, that there needs to be success on the back end of that. So under this bill, one of the bills I'm going to sign, all these colleges pick 3 areas for these credentials, and students go into that program. If they graduate and they don't have job offerings, the student gets the money back. So we're really making sure that there's accountability and that all these programs are driven towards helping students succeed in the real world. And so I really want to thank the Speaker and the legislature for going in that direction, because normally we have a lack of accountability. That's just kind of the nature of it. This is really, I think, important. It allows the institutions, they can pick which 3 they want, because in different parts of the state there's going to be different workforce needs, but I think that this is the right way to go. We're also going to have an office in the executive office of the governor to coordinate all the workforce and vocational training throughout the state of Florida. The bills I'm signing today provides more flexibility in some of our apprenticeship programs. May not necessarily have to go through the typical federal constraints that they have on some of these. My view is you have kids that are in high school. We want to get them senior year. We want to get them into the workforce even during their senior year as an apprentice, and then potentially have a job waiting for them when they get out. So this is really, really important. I tell you, if you look at what's going on with Florida, there's a demand for people who are filling. Obviously, I think nursing is probably the case in most parts of the country, but certainly here there's a need. The students who pass here and do well, they're going to end up with job opportunities. There's no question about that. But you look at some of the other vocational educational opportunities, you look at things in aircraft maintenance, you look at things like welding, all these things, there's a demand. These are good paying jobs, and it gives you an opportunity to do even better in the future. So you will have people pursuing the vocational pipeline that we're really expanding in Florida. I mean, you're going to have some of the students graduate high school, go into one of these fields. By the time they're 22, no debt, some of them will be making 6 figures. Some of the people that went to like a private school out of state, they may be not making 6 figures. They may be owing 6 figures and may not have a degree that's really going to carry them far. Now, hopefully not a lot of students end up in that pickle. I do think that there's been in the last 5-10 years a lot of kind of reality check on what the universities are producing and what they're not. But this is really, I think, where we need to go. We need to make sure that students have the ability to make the choices that are best for them. And there is no choice that is inferior to another choice. The folks that end up graduating here in nursing, they're no worse than somebody that graduates at a different university with a different degree. There's a whole bunch of different pathways to success, and there are so many admirable career endeavors connected to workforce. So to thank the legislature for really taking this on. This has been something that we've worked very hard on for the last many years. We've seen good results, but I think we're going to see even more in the years to come. So thank you, and it's my pleasure to bring up the Speaker of the House, Chris Sprowls.
Thank you, Governor. It's great to be with you here today, and the Governor's right. This is a transformational bill. As we stand here today, this piece of legislation that the Governor is going to sign here in a few moments There is nothing like it in the nation. There is no state in America who has tried to reimagine their workforce system to this scale than what is going to happen here today. And people ask us, you guys say that a lot. You've said it in K-12 and expansions of school choice and what you've done in the environment. Now you're saying it in workforce. There's a common theme here. And what I say to them is because there's a common ingredient. And the common ingredient is that here in the state of Florida, we have the boldest governor of any governor in the state of Florida who's willing to take on the tough issues, who's willing to say, let's not go small, let's not bite off a piece, let's do the whole thing and let's do it now. And it is because of your passion for this governor and candidly the First Lady and her passion for economic mobility for families that we got here today. I want to thank President Simpson in particular for working so closely with the House and Senator Stargell on this. This was a labor of love for the president as well, and I know that he feels passionately about people who are really trying to make it in this world and provide for their families. People ask, like, well, why workforce, right? How did we get here? And if you guys remember, particularly the press who's here today, just a couple of years ago, right here in Tampa Bay where we stand, there was a scandal with our workforce system, with our career source board, where they were taking credits for jobs that they never helped people get. That they were more concerned with national awards that they didn't earn or dollars in bonuses that they didn't earn than they were about actually helping someone who came through the door or made a phone call because they needed a job, because they wanted to provide for their family. And that became an investigation in the Florida House that then Speaker Corcoran helped us initiate and has continued through this day. But what we found when we threw open all the couch cushions was that we have this disconnected, disjointed workforce system where people are doing little parts of things, but they're not doing it together. I think it was Representative Yarborough who's used this analogy in the past, but it would be like a symphony, and they're all playing off of a different sheet of music. And you just have this cacophony of just ugly sound. And under this bill, we put everything together. And now you have a melody of economic mobility, where we say the Department of Education and the Department of Economic Opportunity and DCF, they're all going to work together. And regardless of that person who's looking for that job or for that economic mobility, if they're sitting on their couch and they get online, it doesn't matter which door they pick to go through. They're going to end up at one place. There is no wrong door anymore. We've gotten rid of it because we want you to get to the same place so that you can find out what is the right job for you. You should have a career counseling element. You should be able to say, what are the hot jobs in my zip code that I'm qualified for? And if I'm not qualified, is there a local credential that I can go here to HCC or to St. Pete College to get that? How do I get that? Is there an opportunity to get a discount? What are the ones, as the governor said, that so you're so confident that I'm going to get a job that you're willing to give me a money-back guarantee? Think about that. Find me another state in the nation that is doing what we are doing, that is taking that and saying we are going to put our money where our mouth is. Government doesn't do that. Private enterprise does, but government does it. But we are so confident with our folks who are running our state college system, and we are so confident with the demand on Floridians for jobs that this is going to change their lives forever, forever. I want to thank Representatives Yarborough and Mello who took on this, this huge task. This is a 100-page bill in order to kind of rework our entire workforce system. And they went member to member. They went to the Senate. They worked with our Senate sponsors in order to make this happen. And I can tell you that of all the many things that we are going to do this year, when it comes to the economic mobility of families, when it comes to those conversations around the dinner table about your next job or how you're going to plan for college or how you're going to make your rent payment, this bill, more than any other, is going to help Florida families. And for that, I'm very, very grateful to the governor, and I'm very grateful to the members who've worked on it.
All right, good job. Carlos Powell, where's he at? You ready?
Thank you,
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a pleasure to be here. Good morning. I want to tell you a little bit about my story. After coming from Fort Bliss on a Army mobilization with my reserve unit, I decided to further my education, and Florida was a perfect state to do that. The cost of living was reasonable, so I came down here, applied to USF. They recommended that I come to a junior college and then do that and then go to them. So I came to Hillsborough Community College through the Veteran Services Program. They did a seamless program for me and allowed me to do my pre-nursing. And then in the interim between pre-nursing and when my nursing program started, I did the entrepreneurship program here as well with Dr. Andrew Gold. And then I just recently this May completed my nursing program here, and now I'm set to take the NCLEX and my nursing boards. So that's kind of my story. And also I want to mention the staff was very helpful. My mom passed away in May, and they helped me actually complete the program and helped me out a lot with that. So thank you
You
very
gonna
much.
stay in Tampa Bay area to work?
I am. Hopefully, eventually, I could work at Tampa General. They treated me very well during my internship over there, so it was a pleasure to be there. So I hope to work there.
Good,
Eventually.
good. Well, good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate that.
All right, Kelly Stargell.
Thank you. Thank you, Governor, and thank you all for being here today. Thank you for the work that you did in the House, Speaker Sprowls, and trying to make sure that we brought together a bunch of systems that we've done over the last few years and made sure that we really had a good return on investment for our students, that they actually are getting what they're expecting when they go to higher education, or even part of the bill that hasn't been talked about, which is something I've worked on dual enrollment. We have a phenomenal partnership with our high schools and our colleges and making sure students can do dual enrollment. Many students graduate with the AA from high school and are able to immediately go out into the workforce and capitalize on that education. So I think what you see here are a bunch of people who've worked together to really make sure the people of Florida are having a true investment from the state and their investment in education so that they can go out, they can get a job, they can actually have a future that we all hope for everybody. And it was a long time coming to bring all these things together. But as the speaker said, no other state's done anything like this. I think it's going to be amazing for the state of Florida. So thank you.
Great, thank you. Dean Weasel.
Thank you, Governor, and thank you all for being here today. I was so honored to take this job last September, and we had a lot of work to do. Number one, of course, was our unemployment system. We've had a lot of success there, but we knew moving forward it wasn't about unemployment, it was about helping people find employment. The crisis was going to end, COVID was going to be done, the vaccines are here, it's time to get people back to work. So in January, I was very honored to stand with the Governor and the Speaker to announce we were going to be diving deep into our workforce system. And I want to thank the Governor for his leadership in challenging us to do so, the legislature and the bill sponsors for delivering, but really the Speaker of the House for making this a priority and for his vision in delivering exactly what we're about to sign today. This is, as he said, a visionary, robust, comprehensive bill that is going to change the way workforce is done, quite frankly, through the entire country. We're doing it here in Florida, but other states, I guarantee, are going to follow this leadership. So whether you're coming to the Department of Education for your apprenticeship, your education, whether it's K through 12 or beyond, you're coming to the Department of Economic Opportunity to file for unemployment, which, by the way, should help you find employment, or you're going to DCF to help put food on your table, the number one thing that links all of them is a job. We need to help these people find gainful employment. This bill, through the REACH Act, is going to help us do that today as the Governor signs it. And with the signing of the budget that happened previously on July 1st, my department is going to embark on a study, a comprehensive study on how to link all of these systems. So as the Speaker said, there is no one wrong door. It is one-stop shop. You come to any one of us, we're going to be able to help you. We're going to deliver that study to the legislature, and they've already set aside the funding to build that. So we're about to embark on that today. Thank you, Governor, for your leadership. Thank you to the legislature for bringing this forward.
Thank you. Corcoran.
Thank you. I just want to add another component, obviously being from the education side of things. The great part of this that the Speaker led and the Governor's led for the last 3 years is making agencies work together. And now you have, they talk about no wrong door, but it doesn't matter if you come in through the portal of DCF or DEO or Workforce or Career Source or us, now you're going to see the exact same opportunities that exist for you through as if you had gone to the other agencies. That is game changing. The big part for education, though, is this whole thing is strategically wrapped into a big vision, which is fantastic. And the Speaker mentioned it, the Governor mentioned it. This is game changing for those people. You've got to understand, in Florida, we have almost 4 million people. We have 1.8 million people without even a high school diploma. We have almost 4 million people who basically can't read and write at grade level. And when you give those adults the opportunity to now get into the system where there is no wrong door, get a credential, and we fund everything. So right now, they could maybe get into a door, get into a school, but without the funding that's in this bill, they can't get the federal funding because they don't have a GED. We say, no, there's just no barriers. We're going to cover all that expense too. We'll get you your GED. We'll get you your whatever you need, and then you can get the federal funding in addition to that. And what that does is it not only gives these people hope for a real future and a real career, like the Governor said, because it's a high skill, high wage. We're saying put these folks in real careers that they could sustain for their entire life. And when we do that, to get there, they have become fully literate. And when they become fully literate, and that 4 million people are now reading at grade level, it goes back to what we're trying to do in the governor's vision of early learning and say we want 90% of our kids to be at grade level by 3rd grade. It's a massive literacy movement. Just to put it in perspective, the #1 state under the NAEP is not even at 50, give or take 45, 50%. So you're talking about to get to 90% is 100% more than any other state to get to that early literacy. And how you do that and how you solve that intergenerational literacy issue is you've got to hit the adults and you've got to hit the kids at the same time in this massive frontal assault. And when you do that, the governor's goal is to be #1 in 2030 and work for adult certifications. We're going to get there because not only do we have the 1.8 million folks without the GED or the high school diploma, but now we have another 1.7 million jobs we need to get and fill in really high skill wages like aviation and space tech, logistics, IT and cybersecurity, advanced manufacturing. If we do that, we'll get to that #1 position and we'll be the 10th largest economy in the world. I mean, those are just amazing statistics. But I'll end with what the speaker and the governor said. It's not just this great job, this great career. It's not just all of a sudden the kids being more literate because you're solving this intergenerational literacy issue. It's changing culture and it's changing society and creating a republic that lasts for another 230 years in spectacular fashion. And it's been said by the senators, it's been said by the speaker, it's said by the governor. There is no other state even close to what's happening in education and workforce than the state of Florida. And so for your leadership, Governor, and your leadership, Speaker Sprowls and Senator Stargell, thank you so, so much.
Okay, I will do it. Today's the 23rd, right? 24. 24. See? Why ask? One down. Okay, so speaker, you want to hold one up? Yeah, sure. Okay. Anyone else want to hold one up? There we go. All right, there we go. Good job. All right, who wants a pen? Carlos? There you go. Very much. Yep. Anyone? Okay. There you go. Some of you guys get so many of these pens. Bill signing.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Governor, so much.
Of course. You know? Okay. Jackie? All right. Very good. Oh, yeah. Thanks. Well, it's always great to be able to really see a lot of these legislators day after day because it was a very productive session and we're really, I think, have addressed a lot of very, very key issues. But this really is one, I think, if we continue to go in a good direction and really get it right, it's obviously going to benefit the state, it's going to benefit the overall economy, but I think it's going to make sure that we're opening doors for people from all walks of life, at all stages of life, and this can really, really be significant. So I'm honored to be able to sign the bills today, and I think these things are going to have an impact. With that, I take a couple questions.
Governor, can you answer a quick question about accountability and finding point? There have been some documents that have surfaced that indicate there were warning signs last year under your administration, years ago under other administrations. What sort of accountability should the government accept in that breach?
Well, look, I mean, obviously it was operated by a private company, but our view is we're going to fix it. This has been an issue for decades, and when this happened, I said, you know what? given the history here, let's just move on and deal with it, because there's always ways, there's always reasons, there's always other priorities. I get it. So we secured $100 million to do it, and so that will happen. And so you deal with problems, you got to solve them, and so we're able to do that at this point. We got great support from the legislature, and that's what we're going to be doing. It's clearly been an issue for a long, long time. And, in the past, you can look back. Did they have wherewithal? I don't know. But I know now this is on our plate, and we're going to deal with it.
Governor, will you be heading to Miami in the next couple of days at all?
Probably. I'm going to go today. Yeah, down to Surfside. Yeah, we're going to go. We have our Kevin Tebow's down there, FDOT, obviously they're engineers. And then we've got our DEM director is down there, Kevin Guthrie. So they're on site. I've spoke with the Surfside mayor this morning. I spoke with the Ball Harbor mayor. And so we're going to go down. We're going to offer whatever support we do. When you see something like that happen, these first responders are going into that building. We didn't know whether it was the whole building would collapse. And so we're going in, they're risking their lives in order to get people to safety. And they were able to save a lot of people. They were able to have pulled some people out of even rubble already. But there's so much destruction that they have not gone through everything. They're going to be going through a lot of that today. And, we're hoping for additional rescues, but we're also bracing for some potentially terrible news, because it was a real catastrophe. For that to happen at 1 a.m, I mean, these are folks probably, and it was mostly occupied. It was over 80% was occupied. And so it's a really, really tragic thing. But whatever support we can provide, we want to do that. We are in contact with the local officials, and I will be going down later today. Okay,
Have you gotten any word on how many, 80% occupied, have we gotten any word on how many people that might involve?
So I think a lot of it is I know that they've rescued a number of people, and I think it would be escorted out or rescued, and that would be I think it would probably be at least 100 that have been brought to safety. How many were in the building? I wouldn't want to speculate on that. I think you're going to get more information as the day goes along. But if you looked at kind of the part of the building that collapsed, I mean, you could see like the balconies, like one on top of another. I mean, so this was a really, really catastrophic incident. And I know there has been some documented loss of life, but I think that this is going to be a really difficult day as they go through. And hopefully they're able to save a lot more people, because they have done a heck of a job so far. But man, it's a really bad situation. So we're going to go down there, and the state's going to help in any way it can. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kelly started. Yes. Kelly, because of Kelly.